Well, welcome to podcast number 4. This right here is an important expression because this actually comes from the definition of the derivative in calculus, which is one of the most important ideas in calculus. We're not going to do the calculus part just yet, but we're going to do the algebra / precalculus part. So this means, first of all, we're going to take the function and wherever there was an x, we're going to replace it with that purple blob, which is parentheses 2 plus h. So this x and this x are going to get replaced with parentheses 2 plus h. That's going to be the first part. Okay, to start with, it is a big fraction, so to make sure I have enough room, I'll just make a big fraction. And then substitute each x, so that first purple x gets replaced with parentheses 2 plus h, and that one gets squared, plus 5 times, replace the second purple x with parentheses 2 plus h, and then there's a minus 4. And now we're actually done with this purple blob, and now I need to go on to this, which means instead of using a 2 plus h, now substitute a 2 in for the x's. An important note is this minus sign applies to everything that comes after it. So either put minus and parentheses or minus and brackets, whichever you prefer. So that's going to have negative 2, and then x gets replaced with a 2, so that's squared. And it looks like I might need a little more space, so let me just remove that for a second. And then there's plus 5 times 2, and then minus 4. And then put my second bracket on there. And then the whole thing is divided by h. All right, now I need to start simplifying this thing, and the first thing to do for that is the 2 plus h being squared. So this 2 plus h being squared literally means take 2 plus h times 2 plus h, and then multiply those. So you distribute the 2, so that means there's going to be 2 times 2 is 4. There's also going to be 2 times h, so that's plus 2h. And now distribute the h, so that's going to be plus 2 times h. And the last one is going to be an h times h, so that's h squared. So that is going to replace the purple part. So once again, it's a big fraction. So here's my fraction bar. It starts with a negative 2. And then right here, there's a 2 plus h, a 2h plus another 2 plus h. So that's 4h. So inside the parentheses, replacing the purple part is 4 plus 4h plus h squared. And now we're done with that purple part. Next, distribute the 5. So that means there's 5 times 2 is 10 plus 5 times h. After that, there's a minus 4, and then we need to see what's inside the square brackets. So inside the square bracket there is a negative 2, and then 2 squared is 4, and then plus a 10 and minus a 4. Or that would be negative 8 plus 10 minus 4. So personally, what I would do is combine these two, which is a negative 12 and then plus a 10. So that means that that's a negative 2 inside the square brackets. And then the whole thing is still divided by h. And now we just need a couple more steps to simplify. So one is distribute this negative 2. And again, the fraction bar, so it's going to start with negative 2 times 4 is negative 8, then negative 8h, and then negative 2h squared. And as far as the numbers, after that there's a 10 minus 4, so that would be 6. and then a negative, -2. So we've got the 10 minus 4 is 6, and then a negative actually makes it +2, so that's just going to be a +8. And then don't forget our friend right here, the plus 5h. And that is all of the terms on the top. And now we're almost done. So I'm sure that you noticed that there is a -8 and a +8, which can cancel. Also, I can combine the -8h and the +5h. That's going to make -3h. So fraction bar is getting smaller because we're almost done. So there is, as I said, the -8h and the 5h makes -3h minus 2h squared divided by h. And then on the top, you can factor out an h. So you can factor out this h, which is going to leave -3. When you factor one of the h's out of h squared, it just leaves -2h. And then finally, oh, I really need a red pen for this. Cancel those h's, and it turns out that after all of that work, the answer was very simple. It is just -3 minus 2h. So that's the precalculus part. In calculus, the next thing we would do is have the h become a 0, which in that case means the answer is going to be -3. So really the work of it is the precalculus part, as you can see. But I do want to point out, like I said, this part comes from calculus, and whenever you get one like this, even though for a while it seems like, wow, this is a mess, it's not going to simplify, but magically it does simplify until you get this happy little answer right here, which is all nice and simplified.